What's up, everybody? Season 3, Episode 10. We're going to cap off this season with a few things. We're going to talk about the baseball season and how it's going, and what I predict through the NFL once the season starts, and some preseason thoughts on what's been going on with some teams and what I think about certain rookie quarterbacks and all that. All right, let's get it going. So MLB, Trevor Bauer's got this huge sexual assault restraining order type situation going on. The woman was just denied today the permanent restraining order. Don't really know the details in his situation. He's been out for quite a while because of it and hasn't been playing whatsoever. So in my opinion, that is what really made the Dodgers have like a huge tank recently. They're not out of the playoffs, of course. They're still a top contender team, and then they're definitely going to be one of the teams to make it to the series. Right now, the Giants are on top of the league with first place in the NL West and best record in the MLB right now. No one really expected this of them until now. Now they have proven themselves, and they're considered the best team, the team to beat. They're obviously the team that is going to be considered at the World Series at the moment. I mean, playoffs haven't even started. We haven't even got towards the end of the season yet to see who's capable of that. And the Giants picked up Chris Bryant during the trade deadline, and it so far has helped them tremendously, added a lot of power, and obviously he is an offensive weapon, so he's also been able to produce on that end as well. And so their offense has exploded. They have the most home runs in the MLB. They are on track to do great things. So far, the Giants, GM and Gabe Kapler have proved out. They are handling the team very well and are also making them produce with what they have. People are a little shell-shocked, I think, on their success for right now, because they have so many guys that were, quote-unquote, probably going to retire after this year, depending on how things went, Brandon Crawford being one of them. And now Crawford is signed a 2-year extension to stay on the team for 2 more seasons and stay out of retirement. Now, Buster Posey, Brandon Belt, Evan Longoria, those 3 guys, we still don't know. Buster Posey said he would consider signing maybe again to stay on the team. I don't think he has any interest leaving the Giants, and he is, I would say, considering retirement based on the farm system as well that the Giants have. They have Joey Bart coming up in the system. They have all kinds of guys that are due to replace who we have starting for the team now due to their careers are coming to an end. I think it would be awesome as a Giants fan to finally see them make a run for it. They haven't had a playoff run since 2016, so that will be quite interesting to tune into and witness if they do make it, because it's been some time for them. You know, they gave us a little bit of taste last year of what they were capable of, and now they are on top. They are looking good. Now, to talk about Week 1 preseason NFL, Niners versus Chiefs. That's the game that that's the only one that I really watched. I watched the highlights of the other rookie quarterbacks. Trey Lance came out strong, but he was in the game. People need to realize it's preseason. He didn't produce at the expected level. That he's expected to be the starter, and you know what? He gave us he gave a visual idea of like what to expect. He has an arm. He can scramble. Decision making on throwing is a little iffy, but then again, he is also dealing not. He's not with the starters across the board. Yes, he had a starting O-line, blah, blah, blah. People coming up with all these reasons why he should have did great. He didn't have his wide receiver one out there. He didn't have tight end one out there. He didn't have George Kittle. He didn't have Debo out there very long. The starters didn't stay in very long. He pretty much did that with all the second and third stringers, receiver-wise and running back-wise. I don't think Mostert even stepped foot on the field that game. Jimmy played like one series. Jimmy is probably going to play more than likely this whole season due to the fact that Trey Lance is brand new to the league. He doesn't have a whole lot of NFL experience, and when the time comes, they'll put him in there. Either injury or his time has finally came, and it's time for Jimmy Garoppolo to go. People do need to realize that the Niners did have success with Jimmy Garoppolo in the past, i.e. they went to the freaking Super Bowl in 2019 with him. There wasn't a whole lot of issues besides injury problems down the road as time has gone on. Now, with that being said, do I think the Niners will make it again? Probably. Probably in the near future. Maybe this season, but I would say after the season, they're looking pretty sharp. They have some key pieces to worry about, obviously, this year, and hopefully they stay healthy in order to make it to the Super Bowl again. But I would say with the players that they have now, it would be wise of them to try to make the run now rather than not make it and possibly deal with having a drought again. So I would say they need to take advantage of the opportunity that they have now and the talent that they have now and make the run. They could be a dynasty team in the making, as in they did draft one of the top quarterbacks. Hopefully he's not a bust. I don't think he will be. He showed us that he can throw deep with accuracy. He can make plays with his feet, all of that. We have talented running backs. We have talented receivers right now. Even though we've lost some people in the offseason, we managed to make those replacements that were necessary. And they are looking like a top 10 team again. And I wouldn't be surprised, if they have 11 to 13 wins again. And so the NFC West is stacked top to bottom. Cardinals, Rams, Seahawks, Niners, all of them. They're all looking really stacked. They all look like they can make a playoff run. Unfortunately, once the season starts, we will see who will last. And I would say the NFC West is probably the toughest division to be in. They're going to have a lot of tough games, all of those teams, because they got to face each other twice every season. Each team has got to deal with each other and try to get at least split the series during the season. I would say if they get more than 4 losses, though, they're looking a little shaky for all those teams. So I would say, just being a biased Niner fan, Niners are probably going to come out on top out of the NFC West just based on depth. Other than that, I think the AFC is got a three-way tie almost with who's going to be in it at the end for the AFC. The Bills signed Josh Allen to a huge contract. Browns, they got Baker and all those offensive weapons, and their defense is looking young and strong. And then you have the Chiefs. Obviously, the Chiefs are the top dog. They're more than likely going to be the team to beat in the AFC Championship when it comes time, pending any injuries, obviously. Now, the Chiefs' O-line had tremendous upgrade after Patrick Mahomes, stated that was probably their key issue last year because he was getting chased around quite a bit. One, due to injuries, he got banged up. his O-line was a little banged up. They didn't also have a very solid O-line going into that season. Even though they had tremendous success, it was a known problem for them. The Bucks just freaking exposed their O-line all through the Super Bowl, and Tom Brady came out on top. So the Bucks are going to be the team to beat in the NFC. I don't know if any team can really defeat the fact that Tom Brady is pretty much unbeatable once he has a solid team around him. He had that same situation in New England. They surrounded Brady with a bunch of talent. He's talented as well. He's the best to ever do it. So when you give that man that amount of talent, he doesn't even need all of it, but it just makes them it makes that team unbeatable at that point. And, Brady, people always are like, well, you can't always say he's surrounded by talent. And I'm like, yes, he is, because he attracts a bunch of Pro Bowl type players to come to him. He just causes that people are willing to take pay cuts, all this stuff. Sorry about that. I had to grab something. And so there's no really saying that Brady has an advantage when he really does. He has the biggest advantage of all quarterbacks in any team in the league, because he pretty much gets what he wants. And that's pretty much that. And that's pretty much where we're at with the NFL. Browns gave the Chiefs, I think, the most. I know I just jumped back to the Browns and Chiefs. Browns, I think, are going to be the sleeper team. Ravens, obviously, are in the mix as well. And that's going to be very interesting to see this year, how NFL. And then now with the new COVID rules that they have, they are basically saying that the COVID vaccine for most players, it's pretty much mandatory. I think. I don't really recall the details. I've been hearing about the whole COVID situation. Atlanta Falcons are the first fully vaccinated team, top to bottom, all staff, all players. So they probably will face the least amount of COVID-19 cases. Just they're all vaccinated. No, it's still, yes, you could still get the virus, but they are probably going to have the least amount just because their bodies are prepared for that situation, So Atlanta Falcons could make it pretty far just because they're not going to have a whole lot of COVID issues. I don't think COVID's going to affect this season as much as it did last season. We're very familiar with how to conduct ourselves and stay properly ready. I think teams this year definitely prepared for having short-term losses due to that. I think a lot of teams added more depth to their lineups due to that. And, it's just gonna be another one of those really interesting years with football. A lot of things can happen. Players are just gonna be either in or out. It's a week to week type of thing. Fantasy football is gonna be a pain in the ass. Me personally, I won't be. I've decided I don't really feel like doing fantasy football this year. I'd rather do other things, and that's that. And Deshaun Watson also is not been showing up to practice. I don't even know if Deshaun Watson is going to play this year. He probably is just going to sit it out. He doesn't really want to be on the team. The team is in shambles. They're rated at bottom of the totem pole. They're not going to do too well. It's kind of sad, they got rid of all their talent. The only person they have left is really Deshaun Watson. And the fact that team basically got rid of all their good players that they were supposed to keep, pay, all that good stuff. And Deshaun Watson was definitely paid. He has all these allegations against him, and it's just making it look real bad. His situation doesn't look really promising. There's no proof. There's nothing. It just keeps piling on and on and on and on and on. And for those of you that are listening to this episode, I am really just spitting off all the things that I can remember. I basically have just been letting things happen, and I haven't really just decided, take a little break from this, let everything kind of happen. Football season was kind of on the tail end of things. The baseball season is coming up for playoffs, and I've just been paying attention to things. I just haven't really been what do you call it? I haven't been updating on episodes as much as I want to. Now, with that being said, basketball had all kinds of changes go to it, man. That offseason for the NBA was wild. Players on different teams. Lakers are a bunch of old dudes that are all-stars, all on the same team. Carmelo Anthony with the Lakers now. Russell Westbrook with the Lakers now. The Warriors got a really good rookie in the draft. Like, all these players are everywhere. They're rating the Lakers to make the finals again, and the Warriors, for whatever reason, are not in that conversation. Even though they have Clay coming back, they got a nice rookie through the draft that seems really athletic and an offensive weapon, and Curry's fully ready to go. He's the highest paid player again. Like, I don't know, the basketball is going to be very interesting. I believe the Heat picked up Kyle Lowry. Like, there's all kinds of teams with star power now. There's no longer the two super teams anymore. Like, everyone's creating super teams. Like, the NBA is just stacked everywhere. They're just throwing money to all these freaking all-star players, and it's crazy to see like how this is panning out. Like, everyone's just trying to just knock out the three-headed monster on every team now. Like, every team is stacked, and it's crazy to see. Like, NBA is getting more and more entertaining, in my opinion. And I don't know if LeBron's team really stands a chance anymore. Every team is so stacked that it's like evenly matched. It's gonna come down to a Game 7, I think, next year. In the very end, like, it's just gonna be whoever has all their players at the end, and that's where it's gonna end, And that's pretty much all I got for y'all. I really can't think of anything else to talk about. I've decided a different approach for this episode. I'm just firing things off the top of my head that I can think of. I'm really into just bullshitting about sports, and that's who I am. And if you disagree with my opinions, I'm going to say this one time. I named this Let's Argue for a reason. I'm stating my opinion. I want people to talk back. I want things to go back. Like, I want to hear other opinions. And that's just who I am. I like to talk sports a lot. And thank you for listening. And I hope you enjoy my content and everything that I talk about and my point of view on all of it. And I know I'm saying and I blah 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 blah. I know. I sound ridiculous sometimes, but you know what? I'm not perfect. I'm not here to give you this crazy long talk about stuff and how to speak. Like, I'm not a whole radio etiquette type of person when it comes to this podcast. I enjoy doing it when I have free time. I've been quite busy lately and rather have done other things rather than record episodes for this podcast. Obviously, I will keep creating the content and pushing it out. Don't worry, it may come out quicker than usual sometimes I'll put something together, sometimes I won't, you know, but I'm just rolling with the punches, man. Life happens, and sometimes you got to put certain things aside. Other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm starting the new season for football, obviously for the podcast. So go ahead and give all my football talk a listen when the time comes. We're about three weeks away from the regular season, so stay tuned. I'm gonna be huge on football, so I'll be talking a lot during the football season. Yeah, and that's like my number one thing to talk about. So thank you for listening. This is the end of season 3, and stay tuned for future episodes. Hey everyone, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me go ahead and explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. It's not hard at all. Go ahead and check it out.